Elisha is the understudy to Elijah. And Elijah one day just asked, Elisha, what can I do for you? And he says, I want a double portion of what you have. And Elijah said, man, that's hard. That's a rough one. And you have to imagine, you can't give twice of what you have. You can't give, somebody says, I want $200. You say, well, I only have 100. I can't give you $200. You can't give what you don't have. So here the question is being asked, the request is being asked of Elijah about this desire for a double portion anointing. And he says, man, that's a hard one. And he finally comes to the conclusion. He says, if you see me when I'm taken, then you can have it. So here's this challenge. Our biggest tests are when we don't know we're being tested. Because the Lord is looking for heart response to a given situation. There's not time to think. There's not time to pray. There's not time to do anything. There's a reaction. And either the reaction is a correct one or it's not. It's not a test for judgment. It's a test to see what can he carry. What's the weightiness of what this man, this woman can carry of the things of God into the earth. And so the Lord is constantly examining and testing us to see what we can carry. You remember the king that was told by the prophet, strike the ground with the arrows. And so he hit the ground 3 times. And the prophet got mad at him and said, man, if you would have hit the ground 5 or 6 times, you would have annihilated the enemy. But now you're only going to have 3 temporary victories. How many understand the king probably wanted to take the test over? He didn't know he was being tested. And our greatest tests are when the Lord is looking to see what's in the heart, and we don't know what's in there until it comes out. So this was the test for Elisha. Elijah said, if you see me when I'm taken. And so Elisha wouldn't let Elijah out of his sight. He literally wouldn't let him go to the bathroom by himself. The guy's got a guy, you got somebody watching you all the time, which is weird. And so this goes on for a while, and then suddenly there is a chariot of fire. If you can imagine horses on fire, a chariot on fire comes down out of heaven and comes in between Elisha and Elijah. Now remember, Elisha's assignment is to see Elijah when he's taken. And so he's got one responsibility. What is, some of you maybe have heard the old hymn that talks about Elijah going up in the chariot of fire. He didn't go up in a chariot of fire. He went up in a whirlwind. So here's a chariot of fire that comes, and it's in between Elisha and Elijah. And he's got one responsibility. Now remember, he's asking for a double portion. Double portion anointing is extremely demanding, and there's very little wiggle room for error. Why do I say that? The farther you go in God, the more casualties you cause by your failure. That's life. And so he's trying to measure the metal, if you will, the heart of this man, Elisha. So here comes this chariot of fire that comes in between the two, and Elisha goes, my father, speaking to Elijah, my father, the chariots of Israel and their horsemen. What is he doing? He's acknowledging something supernatural is happening, but he has this amazing ability to keep his eyes on his assignment, which was Elijah. So here's the chariots of Israel and the horsemen. Elisha has his eyes on Elijah, and then a whirlwind comes and takes him up. Interestingly, the whirlwind takes him up, and after it takes him up a ways, the mantle that represents anointing was dropped by Elijah, fell to the ground, and Elisha picked it up. Elijah couldn't give him a double portion anointing, but God could. When God took the mantle for a moment, when he released it again, it had twice of what he needed. And so in this moment, he goes to the water, he strikes the river, he says, where's the God of Elijah? The river parts. The point is what? Elisha illustrates waiting on God. It was not inactivity. It was intensely focused on the mandate of God. It was intensely focused on the assignment.